The moment a man is okay with or without sex, he can take it or leave it, but you can't manipulate him through sex. He's a powerful man. Women respect that. But when a woman knows she can manipulate him through sex, she can no longer respect him. And he can't make good judgments. His people decide who he falls in love with. So if you can remove pornography from a man's world as soon as possible and as early as possible, the better it is for you.
How are you still single? I wanted to answer this question on behalf of all the 50-plus-year-old women who are like me, single, and not really trying to be paired up. It's a question that I get asked a lot. It used to tick me off. I thought it was an implication that it's not normal. Maybe there's something wrong with me. But I know some intentions are good when people ask me that question. I think I would be happier if I was with somebody. Truth be told, I'm pretty happy with my life as is. I ran across this video by Matthew McConaughey, and it really summed up how I feel. He said there was a point in his life where he was searching everywhere for the one. Every woman he came across, he asked himself, is this the one? And one day he decided he was going to accept whatever outcome would be. Shortly thereafter, he met his wife. And that's kind of where I'm at. I like my life. Sure, sometimes would it be great to have a partner, but I've accepted what is right now. I'm not forcing or chasing, because what is meant to be for me will be.
So we've created a generation of narcissistic women. And what's happened is the rise of social media and the rise of online dating and the rise of feminism has taught women that they are not to blame for any poor choices. Every poor choice is glamorized. So if you want to be a sex worker, it's great. If you want to post in bikini pictures online, it's fine. If you want to be in with it, every poor choice is glamorized. And every internal reflection is seen as gaslighting yourself. So they've even got terms for internal reflection to prevent it happening. And so what will happen is they are trained to not reflect on themselves because we've been told we've been oppressed for so many years. Now it's time to make sure we project. And so we don't take any accountability. And as a result, when we get into relationships, if we don't feel completely soothed all the time, he must be a narcissist. He must be a manipulator. He must be gaslighting. He, rather than I. And unfortunately, we've got an online market that caters to that wounded woman, that caters to that entitled woman, and caters to that narcissistic woman. And it's so wild to me that so many women talk about narcissism, but the society today is just catering to narcissistic women.
Let us hope they do not intend to stay.
AI is kind of a fancy thing. It's, first of all, it's 2 letters. It means artificial intelligence. But ultimately what it is it's about machine learning. And so the machine is taught. And part of the issue here is what information is going into the machine that will then determine, and we can predict then, if we think about what information is going in, what then will be produced in terms of decisions and opinions that may be made through that process.
Wow, I learned so much. Thank you, feminist government. Thank you. Guys, I talk about the crisis in the West a lot. Some have pointed out that you can find women like this everywhere, which is true, but I think we can all admit that women hitting the wall without anything to show for it is becoming as American as fireworks and apple pie. Moreover, one of the primary issues with the wall crushers is that they've devolved into thinking that female government is sound government. Somewhere along this 250-year road, they got it into their heads that their minds are steel traps, that they are basically Marcus Aurelius with the feminine twist. Hopefully, this viral story involving the possible next free world leader will shed some light on how crazy things are getting. Starting with Kamala Harris's stepdaughter, Ella Mhof, bashes J.D. Vance's childless comment, "I love my 3 parents" by Leah Bitsky. Before we go on with the video, let me share the comment of the day. Shout out to Buskeleke, who shared, "Never date a single mother. My father made that mistake with my mother. I made that mistake with my ex. They are too much baggage, not worth it." Now that's some real world advice that you can take. Thanks for dropping that comment. So please don't forget to reach out to my email to claim your $5. As always, guys, I'll be checking out the comments from each video and picking one. Could be the funniest, the most liked, or just one that stuck out to me. So don't forget to leave a comment and you could be our very next winner tomorrow. So be sure to hit that like and sub button too, as that helps out a ton. So now let's get right back into the video.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Oh boy.
Here we go. You'd think he just fell out of a coconut tree.
Good one.
Kamala Harris's stepdaughter, Ella Mhof, blasted J.D. Vance after he called the vice president a childless cat lady. How can you be childless when you have cutie pie kids like Cole and I, the 25-year-old daughter of Harris's husband, Doug Mhof, and his ex-wife, Kirsten Mhof, wrote on her Instagram story Thursday, referring to her 29-year-old brother, Cole Mhof.
Were you pregnant?
I love my 3 parents, Ella added. The model, who lovingly calls President Biden's second-in-command Momala, also shared a screenshot of a quote in which her mom defended Harris against the 2024 Republican vice presidential nominee's controversial words. At Mhof, say it louder for the people in the back, Ella wrote. Definitely not a model. If you guys saw a picture of this chick, just wow. Alright, a few things to get out of the way before this hilarious defense continues. Pushing any sort of political opinions aside and just focusing on the nature of the interaction, I think we all agree that old cranky feminists are, in fact, childless cat ladies. And again, without getting into the weeds, pulling away from the purpose of the channel, this guy was obviously making a joke. The kinds of jokes we love here on Man Guide. That's what I'm going to focus on because much of the other stuff is covered extensively on other platforms. The US is not the only one that has women in positions of government that fit the wall-hitting litter box archetype. I seriously can't count the number of stories one can find with other members of feminist leadership, taking the smallest jab and then making it front-page news. In a nutshell, women who hit the wall are sensitive and delirious. The idea of putting them into positions of power is like handling a toddler a dangerous weapon and saying, "Go crazy." Case and point.
You just hit my car with your car.
I did not hit your car with my car.
Are you
That's
serious?
not my car.
Are you serious?
It's not my car.
I just watched you.
No, you didn't.
She just had her cart there. That was hers.
You ain't doing nothing.
Are you
Getting out of the
serious?
car? What?
Ma'am,
What
I
we
just
didn't do?
literally
I didn't do anything.
watched you.
No, I didn't
Just
hit your
grab
car.
your stuff and
We're
just
trying
watch your
to
car
win.
roll
I don't
away.
know. It's not
You
my
can't
car.
put your car
No.
where it
I
belongs.
don't even know.
The cars belong over there, ma'am, not on my
Why
car.
are you yelling at me?
Because you're acting like you didn't even say
I
sorry.
didn't. I didn't do
Ma'am,
it. It's not my car. I'm sorry. It's not my car.
Do you see this?
Not my
Do you
car.
see this?
I don't. Hey.
Are
Did
you
anyone
serious?
See this?
Hey,
What?
Are you serious?
I was just passing by here.
I didn't hit.
I don't
that's
think she
not my
hit your car.
I don't even care.
I just thought I'd let you guys
Ma'am,
know. She did
You
not.
just hit my car.
No,
You
I
didn't
didn't.
hit my
It's
car.
not my car. It's not my car.
You know what? Just call the police. Just call the police.
Yeah, well, call the police.
Ma'am,
I
you
gotta
hit
go.
my. I
I
watched
gotta
you.
go.
I watched you,
Well, I
ma'am.
didn't.
Like if I hit your car, I would just do the right thing. Let's just do the right thing.
Like what?
Ma'am, if I hit your car,
Like what?
I would say I'm sorry
I
for
can't
one,
help it.
and then I would try to see what I can do.
It was
to
probably
fix
the
it.
wind.
Well, ma'am, I'm sorry that the wind hit my car
I don't know
that
what
you
to
had.
do. I don't
but
know what
this
to
is
do.
your
I don't know what to
responsibility.
do. Like, I
Well,
don't
ma'am,
care.
can I
Really,
get
I
some
don't
information
know.
so I can get my
I
car
gotta
fixed?
go. I gotta go.
No, you don't have
I
to
gotta
go.
go.
Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, I just saw your stuff was in this cart. Was that not your cart?
No, it was not my car. I mean, what is this?
I saw something. I came out. It was already there. It was like that.
You got my vote.
Look at my bus! Oh my god, I love it! Oh wow. Tails on the bus, go round and round.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell is going on here, but you get my point. The amount of hormones flying around in an aging woman's head are enough to, as you've seen in other videos, set fire to long-term marriages, abandon children, and vote for the least likely people to succeed. It's the kind of thing that made Socrates question pure democracy, because when the right to discern what makes a great leader is left in the hands of women who don't know what they're talking about, things get messy. The article continues with, Kirsten, who was married to the second gentleman from 1992 to 2008, lashed out at the junior senator after he dragged Harris's role as stepmother to Ella and Cole in a resurfaced interview. We are effectively run in this country by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made. So they want to make the rest of the country miserable too, Vance, 39, told the media.
This is true.
Kirsten, 57, went on the offensive, calling the Hillbilly Elegy author's comments baseless attacks on Harris, who married Doug in 2014. For over 10 years, since Cole and Ella were teenagers, Kamala has been a co-parent with Doug and I, she told CNN Wednesday. She is loving, nurturing, fiercely protective, and always present, Kirsten continued. I love our blended family and am grateful to have her in it. Vance's sexist remarks made headlines just days after Harris, 59, became the presumptive Democratic nominee for the 2024 presidential election following Biden's withdrawal from the race. Again, isolating the statement in itself that the U.S. is run by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made, so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too, isn't an accurate statement. Every day, the internet is inundated with 45-year-old chicks asking TikTok and Instagram if they're pretty, and if they should keep the Tinder app just in case someone comes along. Then when men point out that the gesture is ridiculous, people lose their damn minds. And putting that aside, men on the campaign trail, whatever side they're on, take massive amounts of scrutiny. They'll find themselves drawn by sketch artists being violated, or they end up with labels that follow them throughout their careers. For the most part, they either punch back or just keep on trucking. Plus, how can one do something like this and think the world audience won't tear it to shreds?
Living in a little too top. Living in a little too top. Sandals in a cardigan. Sandals in a cardigan. Sunburn in a white fit. Sunburn in a white fit. Boots in a Perry skirt. Boots in a Perry skirt.
Your kids are going to be so disappointed when they see the videos that their mom made. Newsflash. I don't want kids. Ever. Want to know why? Because this is my favorite sound. Listen to this. Ready? You hear that? Peace and quiet.
If you stop talking, maybe it will get a bit quieter. The rainbow hair is the dead giveaway. So many of these women, whatever their position is, will fight constantly, arguing that children are some kind of burden nobody deserves to hate. But eventually, it all ends the same way, with them 10 to 20 years down the road, whining on their respective platforms about how they should have done things differently, all while refusing to give up their behavior even when the last egg left the building. In regards to this story and little, albeit accurate, joke, obviously Hollywood had to chime in. Specifically Jennifer Aniston. God, why? Jennifer Aniston is in disbelief over J.D. Vance's past comments that resurfaced this week. The Friends alum called out the GOP vice presidential candidate on her Instagram story Wednesday after Vance's comments from a July 2021 interview with Fox News went viral. In the clip she shared, the Hillbilly Elegy author referenced Democratic politicians and claimed the U.S. was being controlled by childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and want to make the rest of the country miserable too.
Correct again.
I truly can't believe this is coming from a potential VP of the United States, Aniston, 55, wrote in response. All I can say is, Mr. Vance, I pray that your daughter is fortunate enough to bear children of her own one day, added the morning show star, who has previously opened up about her personal IVF story. I hope she will not turn to IVF as a second option because you are trying to take that away from her too. Clever, but not clever enough, lady. Women that hit the wall, oh, who am I kidding? Women in general always make this move when they lash out and someone comes back with a burn. They kick, scream, and yell out a number of insults that are parroted, and then when confronted with their own hypocrisy, they play the innocent woman role and say something like, "You're making me uncomfortable." That, or they try and pretend like they're some kind of non-judgmental saint that only wishes the best for the person. Chicks talk a big game about gaslighting. Well, ladies, this is textbook gaslighting. Manipulation in which the abuser attempts to sow self-doubt and confusion in their victim's mind. You wanted to be a part of the game that welcomes mass amounts of judgment. Well, here you are, right in the middle of it.
Hot mom and a mini dress. Hot mom and a mini dress. Batty boss said no pants. Batty boss said no pants. Gen Z Slater, whoop. Gen Z Slater, whoop. That sneaker a road case. That sneaker a road case. Red nails and a Stanley Cup. Red nails and a Stanley Cup. Uncle Brim said a van bun. Uncle Brim said a van bun. Uncle Brim said a van bun.
Please make it stop.
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. You know? What can be unburdened by what has been. 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 What we can see, what we believe can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. Who we can be unburdened by who we have been. What can be unburdened by what has been. Where we can be unburdened by where we have been and unburdened by where we are right now. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What could be unburdened by what had been. What can be unburdened by what has 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 been. Unburdened by what has been, believing in what can be. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be.
Wow, powerful stuff. I hear you loud and clear. I'm just not sure if you can hear it. Again, regardless of affiliation, it's clear to all of us that putting older women in power all over Western nations is becoming a serious problem. These chicks act like they are the bringers of peace, but statistically and historically speaking, it was female monarchs that conducted more wars, broke more trade agreements, and caused inner turmoil when compared to most other men who held the same position. And why? Well, the obvious answer is that they biologically can't handle it, but it also has to do with how they approach criticism. If a single joke can stir up this much controversy among women over the age of 30, then how the hell are they supposed to face the full force of their neighbors in times of conflict? How can they possibly think any of this is going to work when they can't even govern themselves, let alone millions of people? The second story continues with, Aniston, meanwhile, opened up about her IVF journey in 2022, telling Allure magazine that she was grateful to have gone through the shitty and challenging time. If it wasn't for going through that, I would have never become who I was meant to be, she said. I've spent so many years protecting my story about IVF, the actress added. I'm so protective of these parts because I feel like there's so little that I get to keep to myself. I don't have anything to hide. Look, nobody is going to really push back on IVF for a young, functional couple, founded on morally sound principles for the most part. Some people need medical assistance for all kinds of things, but Aniston here is neglecting to mention that she did what all feminists do. Talk about how kids are a problem, hit the wall, and then suddenly feel like they have a platform. Lady, you divorced men several times, waited until the well was dry, and then tried to do what women can do naturally much earlier. That in no way gives you license to talk about the issue, let alone randomly get offended on someone else's behalf. But the nonsense continues.
Do you know, okay, a bit of a history lesson. Do you know that the women's teams were not allowed to have brackets until 2022? Think about that, and talk about progress, better late than never, but progress. But you know what, just how we love March Madness, and even just now allowing the women to have brackets and what that does to encourage people to talk more about the women's teams, to watch them. Now they're being covered. And this is the reality. People used to say, women's sports, who's interested? Well, if you can't see it, you won't be. But when you see it, you realize, oh.
Do you know that the harder thing to do and the right thing to do are usually the same thing? Nothing that has meaning is easy. Easy doesn't enter into grown-up life.
And that is the message of masculinity. The reason why men are the only ones worth considering for governing positions is that they can take a damn joke. They understand that life is hard, and they're willing to face whatever consequences follow their actions. Guys, I will never tell you where you should stand politically. That's not my place, and that's not the focus of Man Guide. If anything, we focus on the collapse of modern women and the cultural message they try to represent. And, for a long time, we've deeply understood what happens when men aren't behind the wheel. As always, I wish you tremendous success. Now it's your turn. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember that if you leave the best comment, you'll get $5. Thank you so much for watching. If you found value in this video, hit the like and subscribe buttons, ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on future uploads, drop a comment, and share it. See you in the next video. Till next time.